Hello everybody, welcome back to another video, and in today's video we are going to be doing an update of Baltimore Thurgood International Airport. Today's update is a pretty exciting one as we have a couple new model aircraft in today's update, and we have the news of a new airline that started service into Baltimore, which is pretty exciting. But to counterbalance that good news with some bad news, we have two airlines which will be leaving Baltimore, one of which has already left Baltimore and the other one will be leaving Baltimore very soon. And we'll get to that news later on in today's video, but starting off here at the cargo stands, here we have the UPS MD-11. It's always nice to see the MD-11 flying around because of course these aircraft are getting pretty rare these days, but this UPS MD-11 is of course going to be heading out to Louisville in Kentucky. Following that, we then have this FedEx Boeing 767-300. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Memphis in Tennessee. Next, over here at the Spirit gates, we have 5 new destinations for Spirit which will be starting out of Baltimore. So over these 3 Spirit aircraft that we have today, I'm going to be going through these new destinations. So starting off here, we have this Spirit Airbus A320. This aircraft has just arrived in from Boston in Massachusetts. The Boston route is starting on May 8th. And then this aircraft is going to be heading out to Myrtle Beach in South Carolina, which will also be starting on May 8th. Then next up here, we have this Spirit Airbus A321. This aircraft has just arrived in from New Orleans in Louisiana, which is going to be starting on May 9th. And it's going to be heading out to Portland in Oregon, which is going to be starting on May 8th. And last here for Spirit, we have their brand new aircraft, the A321neo. While Spirit already had the A321neos on order, they have now transferred their A319neo orders to more of the A321neos. The A319neo is now a very unsuccessful aircraft so far when it comes to orders. There is only one airline currently with orders for the A319neo, and that is China Southern Airlines. They have 2 on order. There's a further 7 orders for government aircraft, executive and private jets, and then 28 undisclosed customers. The A319neo now only has 37 orders. Spirit were originally going to be the launch customer and the primary operator of the type with 31 orders, but now they've of course been transferred over to this type of aircraft, the A321neo. And this A321neo has arrived in from Orlando in Florida and is going to be heading out to the last new destination for Spirit out of Baltimore, which is San Diego in California, and that is going to be starting on May 9th. Next, moving over to Delta, and Delta have been flying some interesting aircraft into Baltimore, like this aircraft. This is the Boeing 757-200, and this aircraft is going to be heading out to Atlanta in Georgia. Along with that, we have another aircraft that is kind of interesting to see from Delta. We have the Boeing 717, and this aircraft is going to be heading out to Detroit in Michigan. Moving over to United now, here we have this United Express Embraer E175. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Houston in Texas. We then have this American Boeing 737-800. This aircraft is going to be heading out to Charlotte in North Carolina. And last but not least, for this terminal, we have the JetBlue Airbus A220-300, and unfortunately JetBlue are one of the 2 airlines that will be ending service here at Baltimore. Of course, they now only fly to Boston, so this A220 is going to be heading out to Boston, but that will be ending on May 1st. And while I'm here, the other airline that has already ended service here at Baltimore is Air Canada Express. Air Canada Express were originally flying to both Montreal and Toronto. They ended Montreal a while back, and then they ended Toronto on March 31st, which is pretty sad. So that's 2 pretty prominent airlines that have left Baltimore. That's JetBlue and Air Canada Express. But for the last time, this JetBlue Airbus A220-300 is going to be heading out to Boston in Massachusetts. Next up here, holding out strong as the only all-year-round wide-body service into Baltimore, we have the British Airways Boeing 787-8. This aircraft is of course going to be heading out to London Heathrow. Next, over here at Southwest, we have this Southwest Boeing 737 MAX 8. This aircraft has arrived in from Manchester in New Hampshire and is going to be heading out to San Diego in California. Next up here, we have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-800. This aircraft has arrived in from Chicago O'Hare in Illinois and is going to be heading out to Tampa in Florida. Next, we have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737 MAX 8 in the Desert Gold color scheme. This aircraft has arrived in from Rochester in New York and is going to be heading out to Phoenix in Arizona. We then have another Southwest 737 MAX 8. This aircraft has arrived in from Boston in Massachusetts and is going to be heading out to Atlanta in Georgia. We then have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the Triple Crown 1 color scheme. This aircraft has arrived in from Chicago Midway in Illinois and is going to be heading out to Buffalo in New York. And last but not least here here for Southwest, we have this Southwest Airlines Boeing 737-700 in the Canyon Blue color scheme. This aircraft has arrived in from Milwaukee in Wisconsin and is going to be heading out to Charlotte in North Carolina. And then last but not least, here we have this Iceland Air Boeing 737 MAX 9. This aircraft has arrived in from Keflavik in Iceland and is going to be heading back out there. And with that, that does conclude today's update of Baltimore Thurgood International Airport. And I do want to go over the one bit of news that I haven't gone over yet, and that is the new airline that started service into Baltimore, and that is an airline called Bermuda Air. Bermuda Air are a brand new airline which commenced operations in 2023. Of course, they fly out of Bermuda, and they're currently flying to US destinations such as Baltimore, Boston, Fort Lauderdale, Orlando, and White Plains, and they started flying into Baltimore on March 18th. They currently have 2 aircraft in their fleet. They're both Embraer E175s, and funnily enough, they are both former Flybe aircraft, so that's pretty cool. There's currently no release of a Bermuda Air E175 available, but hopefully we get that in the future. And yeah, with that does conclude all the news and information that I have to go over about Baltimore. It sucks that JetBlue and Air Canada are leaving. Now that JetBlue are leaving Baltimore, the only airport in the DC area JetBlue will fly into is Washington Reagan. Of course, they left Dulles in 2018, and now they're leaving Baltimore as well, which is really sad. Yeah, it's pretty sad to see them go. But with that, I want to thank you very much for watching today's video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.